Well, happy Monday, and I hope you had a great weekend. So glad to be able to spend 3 minutes of your time here today as we start off our week looking into God's Word. Today, we're going to look at Philippians, and Philippians chapter 1 primarily, and the life of Paul. And Paul is a great example of faith, that whatever Christ threw at him, he made the best out of every situation. And in Philippians chapter 1, we hear a little bit about Paul being stuck in prison. And I brought chains with us today because these things are heavy. And when you think about Paul's life and life in prison, back in that day, they were bound by chains to these walls, not able to move really or do anything. And some might now think we feel like Paul. We are stuck. We are in prison. We can't do anything because of COVID and all the parameters to bring down the curve. But there's a passage here in Philippians chapter 1 that I want to read to you in verse 12. And this is what it says. I want you to know, brothers, that what has happened to me has really served to advance the gospel, so that it has become known throughout the whole imperial guard and to all the rest that my imprisonment is for Christ. Yeah, that even though he was stuck in prison, the advance of the gospel was still happening. Well, let's rewind 7 months. 7 months ago, we were doing our thing, but I want to think about what has happened in the last 7 months to advance the gospels. What have you done to share the gospel? Maybe you've had to be creative. I know for me, who would have thought that I would be in front of this camera and you guys today all around the nation sharing devotional thoughts, or churches that are doing live streams so anybody and everybody can learn who Christ is. And maybe your own churches or maybe you personally are doing other things to share the gospel, and those chains are falling all over because the advancement is happening. And that's what Paul was doing, that other people were stepping up, other people were going out and proclaiming the gospel. So what have you done? How have you shared the gospel with maybe people in your neighborhood? How have you written letters and the things that you've done to advance the kingdom? I'm sure the list would be amazing to hear. So even though we have this obstacle in our life today of COVID and the challenges that come with it, I want us to think about when those challenges arise, that we think about Paul. And we think about how he didn't use his imprisonment to slow things down, but he used it to advance it. He used it to do something greater with it. And I pray that that's what's happening around our churches today. That because of this change in the climate of what's happening, that churches and people are doing whatever they can to let people know who Christ is. And they can say, my chains are gone because of Christ's saving grace. Because he loves us, because he forgives you and me, those chains are gone. And that the advancement can happen. So I pray you have a great week. I hope that if you want to look more, Philippians, the whole book of Philippians is all about Paul and the joy that he brings to the people of Philippi, and just what a great message it is. So if you're looking for something to do today on a rainy day, why don't you just go and take a look at the book of Philippians and dig deep into Paul's life and to see how that can help you advance the gospel each and every day. Have a great week, guys. Bye-bye.